Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here. It is Tuesday, September the 24th. We continue with the book of Proverbs. We're now in chapter 21, so skipping right through it. The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. All deeds are right in the sight of the doer, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. That's what I was referring to yesterday, and it just continues with this idea that, number one, it's important to do right. If we're doing wrong, we can't make it right with a good intention if we know it's wrong. If we don't know it's wrong, that's another story. But then even then, it must be with the right intention. Otherwise, we're guilty of doing what's wrong. It seems pretty obvious. That's basic moral theology. It's basic common sense, though, which is actually what good moral theology is based on, is common sense sort of taken to another level. So in this case, all deeds are right in the sight of the doer, but the Lord weighs the heart. And that's the way it happens now, and it will happen obviously instantaneously at the end of our life. So what we need to do now is examine our conscience every day. Examine it before you go to bed. And do a particular examine, so work on one particular thing in order to grow and deepen in your friendship with Jesus. But examine your conscience in a general way at the end of the day before you go to bed, and ask yourself basically, what have I done wrong? What have I done right? And what specific thing can I do better? It's not that difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time, but its payoff is enormous. And to not do it is to kind of be blind. It's to just it's just to kind of go through life and not be reflecting on where we've come from and where we want to go. So it's really important to do an examination of conscience. So that's my takeaway from this section of the book of Proverbs, which is chapter 21. From the Gospel, Luke chapter 8, Jesus' mother and his brothers came to him, but they could not reach him because of the crowd. And he was told, your mother and brothers are standing outside. And he says, my mother and my brothers are those who hear the word of God and do it. Now, we don't know if Our Lady heard this, but if she didn't, her disposition would have been the same, because he obviously didn't come out right away. But if she did hear it, what would you think? How do you think she responded? By saying, I can't believe, unbelievable, what an ungrateful son. I'm waiting here and I'm like, do I have the right to become a little impatient? I've given you everything. So do you think that's the way, in any way, that's the way Mary would have been fuming, or thinking, or kind of responding to what Jesus said? It sounds kind of like standoffish, right? Well, anyone who does the will of my Father, is my brother and sister, mother and sister and brother. No, Our Lady would have had perfect serenity. She would have fully consented and assented to what her son was doing, and she would have waited, not just with patience, but with love. She would have waited with love, because he would not be ignoring her. He would be doing the will of his Father. That's what's key here. That's what makes him the Messiah. That's what makes her the Blessed Mother. But you and I can reflect on this and extrapolate things and work on them in our own life. When we don't get things that are, we want them immediately, snap of our fingers, or it's like, okay, I waited 5 seconds, at the computer and I don't have it. Then do we start fuming and painting the air blue with our nasty words? Sometimes that's happened to me. But we're made so impatient. We want everything like right now. I call it the McDonald's-minded generation. Fast foods, fast. But we know that fast foods are not nutritious, right? It's all right once in a while. But you eat that stuff all the time, you're going to get sick, you're going to get overweight, you're going to get diabetic, and so on. It's loaded with all sorts of not very healthy things. So why do we think God should answer us as quickly as we get a quick McDonald's or something, or a quick Burger King? Is that going to be good for our soul, nutritious for our soul? No, because then we become more impatient, we become demanding, we become like God owes us, or that God is not about enabling us. We need to wait. And not just wait, like, okay, I'll give him 5 minutes, and if he doesn't answer, to heck with him. Then we got to wait until God actually responds, period. That could be 5 years. It could be 20 years. Monica kept praying for 15, 20 years for the conversion of her son. She didn't have an end date. She just kept praying. And a lot of suffering too. And she even complained to God, but she didn't stop praying. That's the point, you see. God takes a lot from his friends. So you and I need to, in patience, there's a suffering involved in patience, a willingness to die to self. The world's not revolving around me. The universe owes me nothing. Nobody owes me anything, really, strictly speaking. You don't owe me anything, strictly speaking. Yes, we have certain obligations, social obligations, but strictly speaking, you don't owe me anything. And so we have to have this. It's not like nobody cares. That's not what I'm getting at, or shouldn't care about anybody else. But we have to have this sense of, I just need to wait in love. And there's a benefit to doing that. So remember, this is really super important because we're so impatient today. And I'm sure a lot of it's done with the very technology that we were promised would make life easier. And it's made life more potentially dangerous with all the pornography and everything out there. And it's made us more impatient. So wait in love. Let it purify you. God bless you.